Welcome back, Barbarian Horde. I am your main man, and today, before we get into the video, let me tell you, Book of True Names out on PDF. You can get it directly from me for only 15 bucks. Hit me up on Facebook at Andrew Wood, and you can get that taken care of. You can also get the Within the Ring of Fire directly from me package. Every PDF to ever come out for Within the Ring of Fire for only $75. And that's everything. 5 are out now. I'm working on 3 more, and there should be probably even more beyond that, and you get them all for one small taste. So, that's something you want to get a hold of. And you can get your physical copies on Drive-Thru RPG. Get the RPG that everyone is talking about. Now, today we're going to be talking about RPG horrible players. The Predator. Now, there's tons of different types of horrible players, and if you type that in the search bar, you'll see my ugly face up there talking about them over and over again ad nauseum. It is a distinct problem that you're going to have in a lot of games. There's power gamers, and there are rules lawyers, and there are cheaters, and there's a lot of different types of bad play. Bad game masters and bad players. But today we'll be talking about the Predator. And uh, if I can paraphrase Jesse Ventura, I don't got time to game with a bad player. You understand what I'm saying? Uh, Predators, what they want to do is impose their will upon other players in the game. They're often quite cowardly. Uh, they're going to carefully gauge you out statistically. Now, I've seen predatory players, and I've watched them. And sometimes, as a game master, I'll know what their statistics are, and I'll know another player's statistics. But if that other character's done something, if that other character has, particularly if they're coming in, or that someone's bringing a character back, and that character has legacy behind them, has an intimidating aspect, and I make sure people don't know what everyone has. That's, I'll throw you out of a game if you start, sheet gazing on people. That's not acceptable. That's straight up cheating. I don't want you to know what somebody's X, Y, and Z statistics are. Maybe their charisma or presence or something like that. If you need to sell correctly for them, you can have an elegant speech, but if your presence score is poor, it's like, all right, well, that wasn't interesting to me, because that's exactly what a gauge is. You don't want to out role play your statistics. You want to role play. Your role play and your sheet need to be measured similarly. So the Predator wants to figure out who the weakest players in the game are. They both might look at them mentally, the player they can dominate, as well as the other players that they go, okay, your character might be too weak. Now, there might be some mitigation if that player has a particularly strong demeanor, or if that player has a particularly good role there. Maybe they're the good friend of the game master, something like that. The Predator might back up a little bit, because remember, we're talking about essentially cowardice here, and they want to cause problems for maybe the more Omega style people in the group. But they can also cause a lot of problems if you made a character because you want to role play. If you want form over function, which you should always do, and they're going to be function over form. Although they're very strong in their form, they want to be the biggest, the most mysterious, the darkest, the most stealthy, the most meta craving. That's what the Predator wants to have, because essentially what they want to do is kill your character and then essentially make fun of you afterwards for long periods, years of time. Yeah, I gotta hold your character and sorted that ass out. And they'll contrive reasons, if they're a crafty predator, to make it look like they're being less predatory than they are. You should watch out for players who continuously are killing other people's characters. I don't mean like every game session or every hour, though. Sometimes a predator will be doing that and laughing and making jokes. It's certainly something that I like to subtly slide in when I'm interviewing players, as I have a little tolerance for that sort of thing, because you're taking story elements away when you just start killing the characters. So like, well, you guys, I don't know, you don't necessarily need to work together. You work against each other, but trust me, I'm gonna have plenty of problems for you. You're gonna have a difficult enough time in the world, and those elements of stress and pressure from the outside should come in, and hopefully in most situations that sagas bond characters together to some degree. You give them enough to worry about out there, it's like 5 brothers that can't stand each other, but they gonna stand together, you understand, maybe, and walk tall. But the Predator, they're gonna show up at first. If you've never seen a Predator before, and they're going to start doing accounting in their head of, okay, how are these people? First step, how are they integrated? The predator don't get run off out of the game, because chances are that's happened to the predator before if they've been around for a while. So they become more covert in their operations, and they go, okay, well, these guys are factored in. These three guys have been gaming together for 25 years, but look at the game master, and you could be three of you together. They're not going to care about that, but it's the game master they're looking at, and then who's tight with the game master, and then maybe who's not as tight, a newer player or whatever. So you had 6 players, 2 of them real tight with the game master, 25 years, and then there's a couple other new ones like the predator. The predator's going to start looking at those guys first. Not that he might not try, but those guys are going to get a couple sessions more than likely, because the predator still loses regardless if his character wins or not if he gets thrown out of the game. So the predator wants to establish himself, and he's probably going to be quite suck ass to the game master, because he wants to get in well so his actions can be overlooked or even thought of as funny by others, which is quite what the bully wants to do. And I don't mean someone that's bully. Because the predator's not bully at all, baby. And he's going to look for those guys that might be more on the outside. A newer player is a great target for a predator, because they don't know all the ins and outs of min-maxing, of power gaming, of getting all the statistical edges they can. And trust me, the predator does. He knows how to maximize those feats. Predators love fucking Dungeons and Dragons. They love it. I've seen a lot of them in Vampire the Masquerade as well, because the system is so incredibly broken. Rifts, that's another great one for predators. Any game where you can fairly easily get an enormous statistical advantage that will vastly help you over other players, the predator is going to enjoy games like that. The predator may or may not like role-playing that much. I've seen it both ways. But the predator often is going to be very similar to a same-songer, because they want the thrill of them defeating you in fantasy world. It's kind of a fucked up situation, I can assure you. But the big problem they have is predators drive people off. You don't want to show up and just get your character killed, and then killed, and then killed, and then killed. Well, that's not entertaining to you. And the predator will start targeting you, using player knowledge, of course. If a new individual joins, whatever you learn from the other one can't be applied, but the predator will, because he's just looking at you and how he can defeat you, how he can rile you into a fight, or how he can use whatever. And they'll probably have a backstory that tries to give him as much carte blanche and excuse to defeat anyone and attack anyone at any time. The character should probably be very thin-skinned for the predator, and you want to identify these people early so you can excuse them from the game and not invite them. They will cause an enormous amount of damage, and very likely to run people off, perhaps from the hobby forever. So I have only Abomination for the predator. Is for me, I've never been much on player versus player. Sometimes it works if you have a game master who's building that scenario, and you're both coming up one side of the mountain, one side of the mountain, one side of the mountain. The paladin against the cultist of hell, but you're still working together, but they're building it, and you can both see that's where you're going. You don't want to ever jump the gun there, which a lot of people do, and it screws that deal up. But player versus player, if it's built right, if it's going to be the story, that can be a hell of a wonderful story, and I'm all for that. But if someone goes, if you do the slightest thing to this guy whose life was saved 8,000 times, and he goes, I draw my sword to attack you, or he's like, okay, and then the next morning your body is found dead, that sort of thing, or he poisons your food or whatever, that kind of deal, it's just or they try to rile the situation up, exploiting what your character likes. If your character's like a follower of this religion, and then they walk over to your shrine and start pissing on it or something, you should react violently towards them. That's pretty much what you should do for most religions. All depends. But say you worship a god of battle, and they come over and start pissing on your shrine while you're there. You're like, what? No, oh no. And that's well justified PvP, but they're trying to incite it because they know statistically they're probably going to win. And the predator could also likely be a cheater. They're definitely going to be min-maxed. They're going to have their own interpretations of the abilities they have. I found that one a lot. Oh no, my feat does this. Look at the book. No, it doesn't, motherfucker. You've just times 5 to power that feat. Wait a minute, what if this? How come you're like an 8th level fighter and you have maximum hit points? How the fuck did you roll that? I did it alone. Yeah, it's that kind of deal. So try to find out if people have funny stories about how they incited problems with other players, and if they think that that's humorous, they're probably not going to be for your group, because you're probably not going to find it funny after about the fourth time that it's happened, and then it's destroyed this plot line and this plot line and this plot line and this plot line, and that guy just won't even come back. And now they think, as a game master, that your game sucks. And it was essentially just a predator. So remember, you ain't got time for the predator. Let me know in the comments below if you have had the experience of the predator in your RPG experience.